Okay, so we had a 9 week lecture, and the 10th week was our final week. During this course, I've missed a few lectures and a few discussions that were due, and I just completely forgot I had an online class. For our first week, we basically just did icebreakers where everyone in the class told each other about themselves, why they were taking the course, and personally I took the course because it was an elective. I needed to get something done, and I thought it was an online class. I thought it was going to be easier, but it wasn't. I'd rather be in class. So for the first week, we kind of just learned about communication, different forms of communication, and we introduced ourselves to the class. Second week came in, and we were supposed to, do a discussion. And the second week, I kind of just missed it. I completely forgot I was even in the online class. And the third week came, and we had to sit and talk about either self-esteem versus self-concept. And this week, I learned the difference, really. I used to think that they were the same, kind of like, synonyms of one another. But in all reality, self-esteem has to do with the way I value myself, my self-worth, what I think of myself, while self-concept is the way I portray myself to others, what others think of me, how others think of me as a whole. And we just sat and we talked about our social selves, really, like our own personal brand. Then that was week 3. Week 4, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the computer as I'm going along. Week 4, we had to do a perception discussion, which once again, I missed this week, which I really should not have because I could have did way much better in this course. And then week 5 came, and we talked about ladder of abstraction. So we had a ladder of abstractions assignment, and the assignment was we got a word and we had to think of the first thing that came to mind. In all reality, there's 3 things that came to mind, and the fourth one is the goal. The fourth one is one that the other 3 could follow. Like, no matter what the other 3 are, they're gonna maintain to hit this goal. For instance, if someone gave you the word value, the first thing that comes to value is money. And then value, it's all about your interpretation, really. And the first thing came to my mind when I hear the word value is money. And then value, I expect honesty, loyalty, and trusted. Or reality, money, honesty, and loyalty all comes to a goal of someone being trusted, someone being trustworthy. And then after week 5, we moved on to week 6, which was now like we're in like the beginning of November, which was our midterm, which was our midterm and a eulogy of ourselves. And basically, a eulogy is basically when someone dies, and they get up in front of everyone in front of the funeral and speak about the person who is deceased. And basically what I would want others to know of me, how I would want them to think of me, what I would want people in the audience to know about me. And I would want them to know the positive and negative things about me at this point, especially like academic-wise, social-wise, all aspects of my life, really. I don't want, to me, I tell everyone now I'm an open book. I don't want anyone not, knowing anything, really. I had nothing to hide. During this week, which is week 6, we also took our midterm. I had a few altercations with my midterm. My midterm, for the most part, went really well until it was time for me to submit it. But yeah, then we went to week 7. And during week 7, which was, close, it's still November, really. Week 7 was all about conflict, really. I'm sorry, I'm looking at it right here. We had to submit an assignment based off of interpersonal relationships. So this is the time where how lying contributed to our interpersonal communication relationships, and the different kind of conflicts there would be. So we had to read the readings that were there and answer the assignment's question. And then we follow along and we go to week 8, which was, the ending of November, really close to an end of our school year. And it was a self-reflection assignment. And basically how social media and our own choices impacts our lives, publicly and privately, more of like our personal brand, like what I referred to earlier. In our reality, a personal brand is just how others see you. Like, how do others see Jasmine? My personal brand is Jasmine. How do people see me? What do people think about me? And things like that. And how social media plays a role in it. And social media plays a very, very big role, publicly and privately, for my life and my personal brand, because I'm glued to Snapchat, like, all the time. I'm glued to my social media 24/7, but more on Snapchat than anywhere else. And then finally, we go to week 9, because week 10 is our final week. So we go to week 10. Excuse my language. We go to week 9, and week 9 was about toxic relationships, and how toxic relationships, like, how do I define them to be toxic? Why do I find it to be toxic? And then we talked about our beneficial relationships, those that helped me through life, really, those that benefited me further than the present time. And we also talked about how personality and self-concept and self-esteem can impact or change our relationships. And I feel like personality, as well as self-concept and self-esteem, plays a major role when it comes to relationships, because relationships is not only a one-person thing, it's two people. But depending on how your mentality is what direction the relationship will go in, whether it's going to go in a positive path or a negative path. And that was the last of our lectures. Lecture 10 was the time for final week.